no gain. Standing in the dark, I swear I heard you calling my name. And I knew things had changed. No pain, no gain. Something in your eyes just told me that this nightmare would end. And I had found a friend. Shouted from the highest steeple, let it out to all the people. Hey! Play it on the loudest speaker, burning like the highest fever. You hit the right spot. No more lonely nights with a restless heart. Roll the dice, make a brand new start. When the world you knew got shattered, you and me were all that mattered. Just one way, I'm gonna lose this restless heart, running away with you. Human again, I'll take you in my arms and hold you till the fear is all gone. And now the race is won. Shouting from the highest steeple, let it out to all the people. Hey! Screaming on the loudest speaker, burning like the highest fever. You hit the right spot. No more lonely nights with a restless heart. Roll the dice, make a brand new start. When the world you knew got shattered, you and me were all that mattered. Just one way, I'm gonna lose this restless heart, running away with you. There's a new horizon that we're both heading to. It's out there in the distance, and it's playing our tune. Running away, no more lonely nights with a restless heart. Roll the dice, make a brand new start. When the world you knew got shattered, you and me were all that mattered. Just one way, I'm gonna lose this restless heart.
Okay, good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? It is May 11th. It is Larsen Live. We are live. And the title of the stream is, of course, half of the brilliant Bon mot by the former governor of California in the film The Running Man. I hope you leave enough room for my fist because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine. It's a quote that I try to use as often as possible in my life. I don't get to use it very often, but, well, here's hoping. Anyway, why am I referencing The Running Man, you might ask? Because the Met Gala occurred just a few days ago, and that is what the title of the stream refers to, and we're just going to start off the title story right now. For you see, the Met Gala, that gloriously degenerate and decadent display of exorbitant wealth, went the extra mile and became even more degenerate and more decadent and more exorbitant. So much so that people were comparing it to the Hunger Games. And naturally, when I see a Hunger Games comparison, I immediately jump to The Running Man and make Running Man comparisons. I mean, having seen both films, I dare say I enjoy The Running Man more. Not to say that The Hunger Games is bad by any means, but I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger is just a little bit more of an iconic action lead than Jennifer Lawrence. Just a bit. Ponythroat says, I wonder which end of the digestive system the title refers to. Well, it's the stomach, so kind of in the middle there. Fran LPK says, hey man, how are you? I'm doing quite alright, sir. How are you? You know what's not alright? The absolute shit heap that was the Met Gala. Now, we talked about the Met Gala last year, where Elon Musk, in his infinite wisdom, decided to dress up like M. Bison and go to the show, or the gala, I guess would be the right term. I don't know what the hell goes on there. And if that wasn't silly enough, like, who goes to a formal event dressed as M. Bison? But it was even worse this year. For the theme was apparently the Garden of Time. What is the Garden of Time? It is a pretty decent short story written by J.G. Ballard about a wealthy count and countessa who pick time flowers from their garden to slowly stave off the angry mob that is howling for their blood and trying to storm their villa. It's a decent short story. Is it my favorite short story of all time? Probably not. I mean, it's not quite as good as the Lovecraft, Poe, Howard oeuvre, but it's decent enough. You could read it in about 20 minutes. I mean, I would have thought that The Garden of Fear by Robert Howard would have been a better theme for your gala, but that's neither here nor there. The stories are not very similar, but they do both involve flowers. Very horrifyingly strange flowers. But I digress. I just want a party where everybody's like swinging stone axes and wearing loincloths and like trampling elephants. Anyway, yeah. The theme of the Garden of Time is pretty goddamn clear. I mean, the Garden of Time, the short story, that is. It is criticizing A, the inevitability of death and the passage of time, but more specifically, it's criticizing the decadence and wealth of the aristocracy. So naturally, the people who lecture us on media literacy thought that it was just a brilliant idea to make your $75,000 per ticket shindig to be themed about this very clearly anti-aristocracy short story. Not to be outdone in breathtaking obtuseness, some TikTok lady named it's like Haley Bailey or Berry Crunch or whatever that, I don't know what the hell her name is. When I first heard the name, I thought it was that wall-eyed black chick who played in the Little Mermaid live-action movie, but apparently it's not. This is a white girl. In her wisdom, she starts a TikTok literally saying, let them eat cake, and then sachets her way into the party. This didn't go over well, as you can imagine. Check out some comments. Ponythroat says, at least the Running Man did not hire Michael J. Fox as a camera operator. I presume he's referring to the Hunger Games, which I remember having a fair amount of shaky cam. Yes. Ponythroat says they should have themed the party after I have no mouth and I must scream, especially Benny. Yeah, that would be better. cogito, ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you all since I began to live. That's a good story. The video game is really good too. Yeah, Benny gets it in the shorts in that one. For those of you not aware, Benny is turned into some kind of horrible ape man with a gigantic wiener, and he's forced to have sex with the lone lady of the group, Ellen. This is a problem because Benny was secretly gay. Well, I think in the short story he was openly gay, and in the game he was like a closeted gay. But anyway, yes, you might as well theme the Met Gala after "I have no mouth and I must scream," because it wouldn't have been any less tasteful. And if we're gonna talk about like new wave science fiction authors, why not an Iron Dream themed party? And yes, I know a lot of people shit on Norman Spinrad's work nowadays, but I don't care. I like the Iron Dream. The point was given across. Yes, but anyway, yeah, the Met Gala. Literally saying "let them eat cake." It didn't go over well. So much so, in fact, that millions of people were, unsubscribing from these TikTokers and criticizing them, blasting them on Twitter. Eh, And the societal betters are a little confused at this. How could this be happening? What did we do that was so offensive? It's a mystery. Judging from the way that this lady said "let them eat cake," I'm going to assume she was only aware of the tragic life of Marie Antoinette from the Sofia Coppola film with the same name, which I never actually saw, but I did see a few trailers for it, and I remember the intonation of the phrase "let them eat cake." You might as well make everybody dress up like M. Bison just to really get the point across that we're all getting a boot in the ass from these people. Ponythroat says Harlan Ellison's most politically correct moment was when Am turned Benny straight and gave him an organ worthy of a horse. Yeah, yes. Also, when Am starts the simulation for Benny and he immediately kicks it off by having Benny just roll down a flight of stairs for no goddamn reason. Am Vilatacho! Yes, I am a big fan of "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream." Fran LPK says, to be fair, there's no proof Marie Antoinette actually said that. Well, yes, I know, but still, that doesn't give this TikTok lady an excuse to say it. I also remember a few months ago I talked about a literal shindig that was happening at the Palace of Versailles. They're fucking flaunting it. They're flaunting their wealth and not giving a damn right in front of us. And if that wasn't bad enough, speaking of the Met Gala, uh, Anna Wintour banned garlic, onions, and chives from the Met Gala menu. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't she the editor of Vogue magazine or some fashion magazine? I don't know why she's in charge of the dinner menu. But yes, she banned garlic, onions, and chives from the menu. Guests dined on salad, filet mignon, and a red apple dessert during Monday evening's event. Boy, that's not good. Cooking meat without onions or garlic or anything like that. I mean, it's just a block of flesh. Like it's. Do you hate flavor, ma'am? I know these people think they're better than us, but you think that I don't see how herbs and spices are like jejune or a pedestrian or bourgeois or peasant or whatever the hell adjective they're using. Anyway, the New York Post notes that Anna Wintour similarly banned parsley in the past because it can get stuck in people's teeth. Bruschetta is a no-no. It can ruin your outfit. Boy, I guess they don't teach table manners anymore. Anyway, Mrs. Wintour does not want the food to affect the breath of the celebrity guests. There are several people that are allergic to allium, the family of, onions, garlics, chives, and leeks. That is rare but possible, says Joshua Jackson, the executive chef of Great Taste Catering in Los Angeles. The real reason, I think, is that she doesn't want to see chives in the guest's teeth. It's understandable. So the menu was ultimately devised by another caterer, Olivier Chung, or Cheng, Cheng, it's probably Chung, with nods to the Met's exhibition of something or other. Oh, Sleeping Beauty's Reawakening Fashion. The dishes were inspired by fairy tales like Sleeping Beauty, with an emphasis on romance and the ethereal. I don't remember Sleeping Beauty eating like bland meat chunks. Also, a couple weeks ago, probably more like a month ago, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which I don't even know if that's the same Met that they were referring to. I'm going to assume that it is. They had an exhibition about Fleischer cartoons. It should have made the dinner menu around Fleischer cartoons. Like that would have been some spice for you. Just big cans of spinach you hork into your mouth. But yeah, I can't really I can't abide that personally. You spend $75,000 for a ticket and the food sucks. Onions are cheap. You can literally just get them from the ground. You don't even have to get real onions. You can get like onion grass or there's go to Central Park. There's many edible herbs you can make in your food. I'm not a communist. I don't reflexively hate anybody who makes more money than me, but for the love of God, if you're gonna have that much money, let's have some damn taste. Like set trends and like make things better. Don't just make things worse. Anyway, this is all just really getting to the point that I am a temporarily embarrassed aristocrat and I need money now. Okay. Point of says, I'm pretty sure that the real Marie Antoinette had teeth like the mouth of Sauron. I mean, I don't know about Marie Antoinette's dental records, so I'll have to look into that later. Hey, Ponythroat says, banning garlic, proof that the sneering rich really are vampires, and then banning other members of the allium family to be sure. Yes, quite. There's a certain type of person who just hates spices and flavors. They're bad people. Anyway, speaking of the rich, just in case you thought for a second that they weren't deliberately fucking us over, leaving the Met Gala behind and going to the business side of things, the International Monetary Fund says on May 9th, and this is a direct quote, a surge in immigration has made the U.S. economy more competitive by preventing wages from rising more than they otherwise would have naturally. Klaus Schwab, the head of the IMF, says, preventing wages from rising more than they otherwise would have. It's bad that wages could rise, but thankfully, untrammeled amounts of unrestricted immigration means that the wages are kept low so America can be competitive. Wow, you know what would be terrible? Like, just, what would be the worst possible damn thing in the world? If, like, the working man, the wagey, could, like, get a decent wage. Oh, heaven forbid that happen. Oh, but Larsen, what about the stagflation? They're still threatening us with the stagflation during the Carter administration. As a way to get us to just accept endless goddamn, stonk line go up, neoliberal horseshit. These are the people who run the economy. Just in case you thought that there was anything to it other than, just fucking over the working man, fucking over the average American citizen, there isn't. There is not. Oh, and by the way, I dimly recall reading somewhere that between the Carter years and the Reagan years, with all the deregulatory horseshit Reagan did, basically the actual economy and the stagflation grew only there was like a 1% difference, basically. So, the country got its nuts cut off and it made everybody's lives infinitely worse for 1%. But the stocks went up just really good. Mm. I hate to say it, but I'm starting to become slightly more sympathetic towards the communists. I mean, just up to the point where they, kill rich people. And not really so much beyond that. Whoops. Okay, Ponythroat says, for some reason, there's only 2 people commenting, even though there's 8 people watching. Ponythroat says, more competitive. I guess the immigrants are also making the crime rates more competitive. Well, to be fair, by some measures, legal immigrants do actually have lower crime rates than the natural-born American citizen, but do bear in mind that the natural-born American citizens includes violent brappies. Fran LPK says, who do you think was the best U.S. president from the 20th and 21st centuries? I do like several of the mid-century ones, going a little bipartisan here. I like I like both Roosevelt administrations, like Eisenhower, Truman was good too. So, I kind of run the gamut, talk about the party, switching, notwithstanding. I actually find like Coolidge somewhat underrated. That's a whole different story. I mean, all the ones we've had in the 21st century have been kind of shite, but anyway, the main thing is, as I said before, the country won't really start to turn things around unless we dig up Reagan and put him on trial. Also, Woodrow Wilson, but you already know that. Alpha Marigi says he has nothing to say yet. Well, just keep jogging your mind, sir, and you'll get something eventually. Oh, but stonk line go up. That's all that matters. Stonk line goes up. People, struggle to live, living paycheck to paycheck. They can't pay rent, don't have cars, but the stonk line goes up. I guess it makes sense when they say immigration is good for us. I mean, by us, they mean them. By having an endless pool of cheap labor. I said this a couple weeks ago as well. Sorry. If you talk to one of these, conservative ink, stonk line worshippers long enough, they'll basically tell you that they want slavery to come back. Because cheap labor above all else. Also related, due to coronavirus, Australia closed its borders, which ultimately put a halt on immigration. Crispin Hole tells what happened as a result of this unplanned experiment. Unemployment declined, per capita income increased, and the country's GDP did not change. You don't say. I'm teaching now. I'm no longer a wagey. I'm a salaried employee with benefits, but I have been a wagey. I've done backbreaking labor. It sucks, and I've never understood this revulsion to paying grunt labor as a fair wage. I've also mentioned before that maybe that's why I don't succeed in business because I don't have that instinct to me to just you know crack the whip on people and be a slave driver. I don't have that in me because I have some semblance of moral standards. But yeah, a lot of people want that apparently. Oh, America always has been a battle between the best and the worst fucking people in the world, hasn't it? Some people see freedom as a way to live their best life and achieve what they want without caste, creed, or class, which is why America has more Nobel Prizes than any other country on earth. Some people see freedom as an excuse to be a shit ass and work slave labor and have sex with children, which is why these law-libertarian shitheels want to bring all that back. I specify law-libertarians because I do have some respect for like libertarian ideas in the sense of, leave me the hell alone. But again, just like, the Con Inc. people want slavery back, there's a certain type of libertarian who, if you talk to them enough, they'll basically just say, yes, I do want to have sex with little girls. Wink. Okay, C-Punk Messiah says, you want communists? Because that's how we get communists. Yes, thank you, Sterling Archer. Ponythor says, what about Taft? Yeah, Taft is pretty good too. Does anybody remember anything about Taft other than him being fat? I mean, Taft was like, he did continue a lot of Teddy Roosevelt's progressive shit. Um, okay, Seabung Messiah says, how much do you want to bet these people secretly want to keep the communists around because it gives them a boogeyman to scare people into submission with? I mean, I don't know if communism is a boogeyman per se, because I mean, obviously, whenever communists get into power, really bad shit happens, and I've known enough, Chinese people, Russian people, and Cuban people to tell me otherwise. But you know, I certainly don't approve of like these, these like glorified nonces. And we'll get to that in a little while. Fran LPK says, would you like a libertarian president like Argentina? Oh, Javier Milei. I hear he's done some good things. I mean, it depends on like how you're defining libertarian. Like, do I want a libertarian president who like reduces the size of the government bureaucracy and generally says leave people alone? Yes, I would like that. Do I want the kind of libertarian who wants to do nothing but smoke weed and bang little girls all day? No, I do not want that. Okay, moving on from that. Let's see what we got here. We have some strange things to talk about today. Oh, yeah, speaking of nonces and libertarians, there was a bipartisan bill in Missouri, which is, as miserable as the name implies. But yeah, bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans. It was going to basically ban the practice where, a 16 or 17-year-old can get married with parental consent. Seems pretty reasonable, but some fat tub of shit named like, I swear his name is like Dean Soyjack or something. He was against it. How dare you get involved in people's lives? This gigantic gunt man, he looks like the kind of person who has sex with teenage girls. Just saying. And I don't approve. Because deep in my, cold, dark recesses of my heart, I do care about the young whippersnappers that I'm, in charge with their education of. And yes, I would like to apply a baseball bat to the head of the average nonce. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is why I don't vote Republican, because some of the things the Republicans say I do agree with. Like, yes, people should take responsibility for themselves. The government should be reduced in size, like in bureaucracy. Like, people should, pull themselves up by the bootstraps and, you know, stop taking shit. And, we should have law and order and clean streets. That's the things that the Republicans, ostensibly are about. But then they do shit like this. Then they do shit like defending teenage girls getting married and just their fanatical hatred of the arts and the sciences and everything good in life. And no, having sex with teenage girls is not one of the good things in life, unless they're 18. Then, of course, I don't vote Democrat because they're literally gay race communists. So, where does the sensible man who just wants, a functional country vote? It's a mystery. Shinsei Gammon says the people we're immigrating uh, also want teen marriages legal. No, I think they want a little younger than that. A lot younger, actually. But yeah, speaking of migration, we'll just move right along here. And also tying into the economics thing. Boy, there's a lot of economics talk today. I did not plan this, just kind of happened. From the telegraph.co.uk. Migration has failed to drive economic growth, says report. We've accidentally imported millions of immigrants in a failed bid to drive economic growth. How did it happen? It's 2024, and the, Oxbridge educated English economists are just now understanding the concept of supply and demand. I mean, it's not like that was a concept invented by an Englishman several hundred years ago. Oh, wait, it was. Well, it didn't. It didn't actually make the stonk line go up. Now there's unnecessary ethnic tension, increased crime rates, and we've irrevocably changed, the country forever. Oh well. Meh. Hey, Alpha Rodriguez says conservative off-brand Family Guy isn't art. Oh yes, yes, I remember that. The Daily Wire has some new cartoon show, which is just like it's like every other, whack ass adult cartoon, and that's just like a shitty Family Guy knockoff. Like, for the love of God, like, I support the idea that like you should have more adult cartoons. Like, cartoons shouldn't be just for kids, but it's like there's more to adult life than just making, lame ass Family Guy kind of sitcoms. Like, Family Guy's fine, but it's like there's only one. You don't need like a million other Family Guys, like families, guys. I don't know how you pluralize. I guess it would be Family Guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure even Ralph Bakshi would say that there's more to. Yeah, he did say like when he said I want there to be more adult cartoons. I don't just mean like titties and blood. I want like real themes and depth and artistry. But nobody listened to Ralphie. Nobody listened to Ralphie, and that's a damn mistake. I mean, hell, like, I would actually go for like the Castlevania cartoon before they woke that up to hell and back. Like the first season was actually good. That's like a serious adult drama and action cartoon, and it's good. Primal by Tartakovsky, fantastic. Ian Kempster, referring to the Democrat versus Republican thing, says it's a choice between the lesser of two evils. I mean, it's like, are they even? Is one even the lesser evil? It's just like they're different varieties of evil. Like, you've got the Republicans who are, you got two branches of them. You have like the evangelical fundamentalist lunatics, who, they're not as powerful as they were during the Reagan days, but they're still around. Then you also have like the, dude, we bro, libertarians on that side. Then with the Democrats, you have the gay race communists. Like, I don't want to vote for either of these people. Seapunk Messiah asks, in your hypothetical of how you'd rework education, would you also make the Book of Five Rings required reading? Well, yeah, there'd be a whole like sort of rhetoric thing, whole like philosophy and rhetoric class. Yeah, they would read the Book of Five Rings, Art of War, other East Asian texts, the Hagakure, stuff like that. Yes, I know people kind of dump on the art of war nowadays because of the memes. And yes, it is basically war for dummies. But, bear in mind the book was written almost 3,000 years ago, so someone's got to write it down first. Seapunk Messiah says the best adult cartoon by far today is Smiling Friends. I have no idea what that is. I'm going to look that up right now. Hey, Smiling Friends. I don't know what this is. It looks kind of funny. I might watch this at some point. Penelope K says, I hate Family Guy except the first 4 seasons. I mean, Family Guy's had a lot of stinkers, but it's still, it's decent for what it is. It's kind of funny nowadays that Seth MacFarlane really doesn't give a shit about it anymore. He just kind of does it for the paycheck. He's actually restoring classic cartoons nowadays. But yeah, like the problem with Family Guy is just that every slapdick adult cartoon nowadays is just a Family Guy knockoff. Like creativity, please. Can we do something other than this? Ponythroat says Ralph Bakshi then made a lewd furry cartoon, referring to Fritz the cat, I assume. And also the version of Lord of the Rings where Sam is mentally challenged and Aragorn is a Native American. Ah, yes. Well, the thing about Fritz the cat is, it's not just like, dude, the titties and blood, bro. It actually does have some pretty, harsh things to say about like the sort of 60s countercultural movement, in that it predicted, exactly what would happen, that they all just kind of sold out and became yuppies, and they were just in it for the drugs and the sex, which is 100% true from my experience. And the Lord of the Rings cartoon is actually pretty decent, especially since he was getting dicked around the whole time by the studio. He had to like cut corners a lot. We had a lot of like rotoscoping. But yeah, like the treatment of Sam is inexcusable. Although I will say that at the very end of the Bakshi Lord of the Rings cartoon, Sam does seem to be nutting up a little bit. So maybe if you made the sequel, Sam would be, a better character. No, my, hooray! Oh, God, I hate myself for doing that. Alpha Mariga says Sign-In gets adapted into anime. Yes, it does. Sometimes not very well. Yeah, I didn't care for that 2016 Berserk show at all, where like all the sword swings sound like frying pans. I don't know what the hell they were doing with that. Ponythroat says, as far as I know, the Castlevania cartoon never did add Grant. No, but it added some random black girl who was allegedly Sophia or whatever her name is. Alpha Marigi says, Smiling Friends is unique because it's dark, but against nihilism. Biff Slankovich says, I'm here, boys. Hello, sir. Yeah, Smiling Friends, it looks kind of interesting. I might have to watch it. I even gave the Has-Been Hotel pilot a chance. I can understand the appeals, why somebody might like that, but it's not my thing. It's basically Hot Topic, the show. Pony Throat, referring to the Lord of the Rings cartoon from 1978, says they should not have tried to compact the two towers into the last 30 minutes. Should have just kept it as the Fellowship. Yes, I agree. But I mean, Bakshi had a hard enough time getting them to do like 2 movies. I highly doubt he would have been able to do a trilogy. And even Peter Jackson said that he took inspiration from the Bakshi cartoon movies. So again, it was a noble failure, Ralphie. Which you could say about a lot of his works, actually. But yes, yeah, the economy sucks, and the right wing, you know, stick up the asses who think they're going to save society. They're not going to do it because society needs more than just stonks and bombing brown people. Daily Wire. You need good art and good media, and you are not providing that. Anyway, speaking of society going to hell, We've been to America, we've been to Britain. Let's stay in the Five Eyes, let's stay in the Anglosphere, and go to Canada. In a public park in Toronto, there is a baseball field. There are rules applied to this baseball diamond. The public must respect the following. 1. Use of hard balls is not allowed. 2. Aluminium bats are not permitted. Oh, I didn't know they spelled it like that in Canada too. That's the wrong way to spell it. 3. Competitive high-level play is not allowed. 4. Home runs are not allowed. 5. Underhand only. 6. The ball must remain in the park area. 7. No alcohol consumption. So I guess we can only have like 5-year-olds playing t-ball here because you can't throw a fast ball, you can't use aluminum bats, you can't play competitively, and you can't hit the ball hard. Gee, I know. I wonder why the kids don't play outside anymore. If you can't allow them to play with 100% effort, at the sports field, I guess they're going to stick on TikTok, I guess. I don't know. Personally, like, I haven't really played baseball beyond, like, elementary school, like, little league stuff, but even when I was a wee child, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I would have gotten my ass kicked if I, was underhand throwing the ball. Okay, little Timmy, you can't hit a home run. I'm sorry, Toronto Public Park. I don't think you understand why the children like to play baseball. No one dreams about hitting a single or like bunting and like taking first base. Cretin. The kids fantasize about, knocking out homers, want to hit some dingers. And come on, no alcohol consumption. Even Homer Simpson would tell you baseball's no fun unless you're hammered. It's like, and now the play's stopping because a beach ball has gone onto the field. And Homer's like, I never realized how boring this game is until I got sober. Okay. Bish Lankovich says, wait, I already read that, sorry. Ponythroat says, I wish Gandalf could stop pointing at things constantly. Yeah, yes. The thing about the Bakshi Lord of the Rings is that he kind of goes all in on like the sort of fantastical dialogue, whereas Peter Jackson was a little bit more modern. All the dialogue is very theatrical and operatic. In a dream I heard we would come here, which is good. But yes, Gandalf is like just spastically flailing his arms around in very operatic gestures. He's milking the invisible cow, as opera performers say. Oh, and speaking of opera, by the way, Madame Butterfly was outstanding. But I digress. Fran LPK says, a non-American, I remember you are from Argentina. I envy your economy. Oh, believe me, it's not as good as it once was. And they're trying really hard every day to just fuck it over. El Jefe says, is Double Indemnity still my favorite? Well, it was never my favorite movie. I mean, I like it, but I wouldn't say it was my favorite movie. My favorite movie is The Man Who Would Be King. Ponythroat says, no defecation, presumably referring to the influx of subcontinental immigrants to Canada. I mean, that was not on the sign, so, I mean, I guess you can just play wuss ball and, like, let it rip on the field. Okay. Ponythroat says, the home run thing is probably to stop the balls breaking local windows. You ever hear about putting up a fence? Like, I mean, near where my parents live, there's a golf driving range which has a big fence to stop the balls from breaking people's windows. It's not that hard, Canada. Okay, C-Punk Messiah says there's a French cartoon, P. Poudou, and the Super Fuck Friends is a fairly graphic yet educational series. It's funny and not for the faint of heart or the faint of butt. Ian Kempster says Toronto is an uber liberal, terrible city. The Blue Jays are shitting the bed too. I mean, I don't even follow baseball all that much, but just as like as a man and as a somebody who likes to think of himself as a athlete himself, I just I just don't like to see a sign which basically says, you kids can't have fun. You got to like neuter your play. You got to play like a little bitch. Alpha Rodriguez says on the subject of uncreativity, I had an idea for a skit where Asian guys writing a shitty Family Guy clone can't think of new extreme violence from the dad because the son got an A minus. It might be interesting, but again, we don't need more Family Guy knockoffs. Pointy Throat says apparently a lot of people watching it back wonder why Gimli was shot full of arrows in Lothlorien. It's been a long time since I've seen the backsheet Lord of the Rings, or the live action Lord of the Rings for that matter, so I couldn't tell you. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Speaking of, actually, we'll come back to the Lord of the Rings in a little while. But yeah, speaking of all these little shit heaps all kind of coming together. There's another. We have so much space. Let's just build endless apartment blocks tweet from Gareth Evans, Gammonologist at Gareth0108 on Twitter. Please remind me again how Britain is full. I've walked for a half an hour and haven't seen another human. Hashtag Cornwall. Yes, this is such a lovely, bucolic English countryside. Let's fill it up with convenience stores and endless apartment high-rises. The same people who are pro-climate, they're also in favor of using every bit of untouched land to just build houses and bring in endless goddamn, illegal immigrants. I don't understand it. Well, actually, we can fit a lot more people into America if you just go to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and fill it up and build Walmarts there. Herp a derp. And yes, I know I said Cornwall and then America. These people are everywhere. They talk about the climate and it's like we need to have the environment and you got to protect the environment. Yet they don't understand that having massive amounts of people doesn't make the environment better. Penelope K says the Canada thing is why bullying, the Canada thing is why bullying is necessarily evil. I was bullied a lot as a kid. So was I. But yeah, like here's my beautiful wife, the love of my life, the light of my life, the apple of my eye with coffee. But yeah, like I said, even when I was 5 or 6 years old and I played Little League ball, like I would have gotten my ass kicked if I threw underhand. One of those says he's referring to the fact that people mistook Boromir for Gimli due to his appearance. Ah, yes, Boromir did have like a weird horned helmet and a beard, like a dwarf. C-Punk Messiah says, I'm a bit surprised America does not have its own Kowloon Palace. Well, the reason that the Kowloon Palace happened was because it was like a little legal snafu between China and Britain back when they had Hong Kong. So, basically there was like no law that there was no legal jurisdiction that kind of affected the Kowloon sort of area. So, yeah. I'm sure there's somewhere in America that's like not particularly under legal jurisdiction. Will there be secret martial arts tournaments there? I don't know. Anyway, thank God it was all cleared up in Hong Kong 97. As we know in that video game documentary, the same name, the cousin of Bruce Lee, killed 1 billion communists with his feet and also giant floating Deng Xiaoping head. I don't see her, but I can just feel my wife asking, what in the blue hell is Larsen talking about? Alpha Riga says the son gets an A minus and the dad decapitates him with a samurai sword. That's good. My dad was just like that. Two problems. One, they're Chinese, and we already did that in episode 4. Well, use a Dao instead of a katana. A sword's a sword, gentlemen. Okay, moving on from that. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh yeah, speaking of England, boy, we're really sticking in the Anglosphere today. Not to be provincial or anything. And also, speaking of the environment, man, it must have been on some good shit because all these things actually tie together thematically. The environmental protest group Just Stop Oil, the jagoffs who throw paint on like Rembrandt paintings, they went into the British National Museum. They took a chisel and hammer to the glass case holding the Magna Carta, and they cracked it, and thankfully they were stopped before they could further damage it. I'd like to point out that they were there for 35 seconds taking a damn chisel to, arguably the greatest treasure in British cultural history. And it wasn't until after they broke the glass that the security intervened. Reverend Dr. Sue Parfit and Judy Bruce, which says a lot about the Anglican Church, are demanding that an emergency plan to stop new oil and gas licenses by 2030. I'm concerned about the environment. I'm going to destroy my nation's cultural heritage. Again, these are the same people who threw paint on like the Mona Lisa and the Van Gogh sunflowers, and it was like I think there was a Rembrandt too that they messed up. And I'll also say this again. If I happen to be in the room and you're like going to destroy the United States Constitution or something like that, I will kick your ass up and down that museum. I care about, nobody else does, but I care about this country's cultural heritage. Now, obviously, I'm nowhere near Washington, D.C. or the Smithsonian, so that's not going to happen. But I am very close to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And, they have like very nice American painting. They have like, William Sidney Mount and Winslow Homers and stuff like that. And I will kick your balls to the roof of your mouth if you destroy those paintings. I'm an American, and that is my heritage, God damn it. And God help you if you try to mess around with the Frazetta Museum in Pennsylvania. Hey. Friend LPK asks, what does katana mean? It's a samurai sword. A dao is a Chinese, dao is just a generic Chinese term for a curved sword. There are multiple types of dao. Mainly when I say dao, I have in mind like the big dao, like the sort of peasant swords that were used effectively up until the 1940s, actually. Ponythroat says a horde of fucking ugly reds. Yes, who can forget Hong Kong 97? Alpha Rodriguez says it's way too extreme to be a psyop. You got 12 people watching. That's good. C-Punk Messiah says, I think the U.S. could use a massive martial arts tournament similar to the Tenkaichi Budokai. Allows anybody to enter and favors no style. I don't know, would this be invitation only? I guess so, yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be bad. But yes, in conclusion, please leave the Magna Carta alone. You'd think that a Anglican reverend would, care about her country's cultural heritage, but I guess not. And speaking of, okay, I didn't intend for this to just kick, England in the dick, but it's kind of happening inadvertently. Jeez, I thought my country was doing bad. Anyway, also from the Telegraph, Cambridge University says Anglo-Saxons are not real in an effort to fight nationalism. Cambridge has changed the name of their medieval studies journal from Anglo-Saxon to Early Medieval. It's teaching students that the Anglo-Saxons do not exist as a distinct ethnic group as part of efforts to undermine myths of nationalism. I don't. I mean, are we disputing that there were or are Germanic tribes called the Angles and the Saxons? Like they came together. They're Anglo-Saxons. Like hey, you know that Sayak sword that was literally the namesake of them? Guess it's the early medieval sword now. Waka waka. And yes, it's true that they would not have referred to themselves as Anglo-Saxons. They referred to themselves as Angles or Saxons. They came together. Ethnogenesis happened. Your history doesn't exist, dude. Okay, friend LPK says I gave you the samurai cop line and you answered wrong. Damn, yeah. I saw the OSW review of Samurai Cop a long time ago. I totally forgot. My mistake. Punishfoot says also the people who attacked the Magna Carta were both over 80. Yes, they were. Alpha Rodriguez says the Tenkaichi Budokai had single elimination prelims. Yes, much like Frank Dukes' mythical Kumite. 60 rounds, single elimination. Ironically, if every person in America fought in the Tenkaichi Budokai, it would still be less rounds than Frank Dukes' imaginary tournament. Okay, Steampunk Messiah then says it's a type of Japanese sword. There's a Tsurugi, straight sword, Nodachi, the great sword. Let's not forget Daikatana. Yes, I know there's no actual sword called the Daikatana. It is the Nodachi. Then, of course, if you're going to talk about shiny swords, you got Daos, which are curved swords, John, which is the straight sword, and there's different types of each. But this is not a blacksmithing stream. Thought says, my favorite metal band, early medieval. Yes. I don't know, like if you're gonna say like the Anglo-Saxons didn't exist, then are you gonna say that like the Celts don't exist, the Welsh don't exist? This seems really arbitrary, and I don't like where this is going. Nonetheless, we can stick to more classical studies. Finally, we're going to leave the Anglosphere. We're going to go to Greece. Okay, there are new scrolls from Herculaneum. They describe Plato's death. So, according to Philodemus, at the end of Plato's life, he developed a fever and fell into a delirious state when a Thracian slave girl playing the panpipes, perhaps to comfort him, played the song wrong. Plato appeared to regain consciousness and complained that this girl, because of her barbaric background, was unable to get it right. This exchange was much to the delight of Plato's friends, who from this brief revival concluded that he was not that critical after all. Even so, he then died shortly after. Man, you got to play that music really bad to like wake a man out of like fever deliriums to tell you that your music sucks. I've never heard a Bulgarian play the panpipes, but I guess it isn't very good. Man, when you're so racist that like you can overcome sickness for a few minutes. Word of advice: keep that little pocket of racism just to give you a little energy if you need it. Fran LPK says Eastern Europe will be the last stand of the West. That is a rather oxymoronic statement if you think about it. But yeah, probably. No, academia can be fun sometimes. Let's see. Now, as we go towards the silly side of things, let's see what we have in the news. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll just get to the silly side of things. First of all, on Twitter, wait, let me just see if I have anything that's like not stupid, like real news to talk about. Let's see. Okay, we did the Met Gala, we did Plato, we did the Toronto baseball story. Now I guess we're done with the serious stuff. Okay, so yeah, in Twitter silliness, this I gotta put this in the stream. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so what happened was there was a picture of a mountain lion that got posted on the Twitters. It's from one of those, nature's amazing Twitter accounts or whatever the hell it is. And it's a mother mountain lion, and she has led her kittens to a dead mountain goat. They are eating its flesh, as you would expect from an obligate hypercarnivore. Pretty standard picture, I suppose. Let me just shrink this down a bit. Yeah, pretty standard picture. Nice, candid picture. And then somebody makes my life just a little bit worse. Skooks at Skookum. I'm going to say something. I don't give a single fuck if y'all get mad. What he's alluding to is the fact that he is sexually attracted to this mother mountain lion. Another post from at pseudo early. It just dawned on me why they're called cougars. At didn't miss news. Shit, I'll say that's a sexy ass cat. She definitely has those come eat some dead goat eyes. Why is she looking at us like that? She bad for real, etc., etc. Why are you people sexually attracted to a goddamn mountain lion? Like, when you think in your mind, I'm sexually attracted to a goddamn big cat, might as well just, I don't care what you were gonna do that day, just turn around and go back to bed. You've had too much life today. Like, please stop. Apparently, this is not the only person to think this. From Reddit are morbid questions. Am I weird if I find the faces of mountain lions sexually attractive? It probably is weird. I want to know if this is a common thing, if there's something wrong with me. Something just clicked. Their faces were beautiful. I couldn't stop looking. Their faces are perfectly shaped and expressive. Their eyes are bright, clear, and knowing. They have flat pink noses and soft ears. They have soft, luscious fur the color of brown sugar, and around their snout and jaw, white sugar. The way they move is so sexy, so graceful, so seductive. You can see how expressive their faces are. Mountain lionesses are perhaps the physical embodiment of pure sexuality and femininity. They represent the. Okay, I'm going to stop. This person says, I have no zoophiliac tendencies, however. I would never actually have sex with a mountain lioness. But if they were intelligent creatures on our level and they had humanoid bodies, sweet mama, I would be in heaven. I'm going to pause as I make finger guns at the side of my head. And it goes on like this. Compared to mountain lions, human women cannot stack up. The most beautiful woman on earth cannot possibly hope to even compare to the raw beauty of an average mountain lioness. And I'm ashamed to admit it, not even my partner does, although I believe she comes the closest. Oh my god, this person is apparently dating somebody. You can tell he's a complete chode because he refers to his girlfriend as his partner. I should just end the stream here, shouldn't I? Okay, Biff Slankovich says, why does Shogun have darkened action scenes? You're the second person who's recommended Shogun to me. My eye doctor did as well. Ponythroat says, do these people have furry PFPs? I don't think so. Let's see. Skookum is a little bedsheet ghost. And then, yeah, I don't really see furry stuff. I don't know, guess it's just a bunch of ostensibly normal men who just want to bang mountain lions. I've seen it said once that the problem with the internet is that like it gave every degenerate cretin a voice. So now there's like communities of like people who want to have sex with toasters or whatever. And yeah, I'm starting to agree. For the love of God, give me the superpower to reach through the screen and punch people in the face. Yes, it's a very good picture. I mean, I want to say it's like a beautiful and majestic creature, but now I'm going to sound like one of these people. In the platonic sense. Debunk Messiah says at least furries have the sense to anthropify them first. Yes, thank you, C Punk Messiah. Again, if you want to draw your like sexy cartoon animals, like that's, I mean, that's okay. But like this, you're sexually attracted to a goddamn wild animal. This is not good. My wife is looking over my shoulder, like stifling her laughter. Alpha Rigi says this would be an awkward thing to call in sick for. Yeah, boss, I can't come in. I tried to have sex with a mountain lion and she ripped my face off. Alpha Rigi says, I need more money if guys like this can get girls and I can't. You just gotta play the numbers game, sir. Even when I was poor and living in like a goddamn broom closet, basically, I could bring girls back. Point of Throat says, the mountain lion is a single mother. No thanks. Yeah, that's the sensible answer. Okay, moving on from this. See what we got. Just when I thought I was done with Lord of the Rings, they pull me back in. There's going to be a new Lord of the Rings movie. It has the working title, The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. The movie will be directed by and starring Andy Serkis. Peter Jackson is also involved. So this is apparently going to be based on like a brief, interquel in the books where Aragorn hunts down Gollum. It's literally like one page in the book. But apparently you can make a whole movie out of this. Also, fun fact, there was a fan film from the early 2000s on this exact topic. Warner Brothers shut them down just the other day because there can only be one search for Gollum. I don't know why, like, you have to keep milking the goddamn Lord of the Rings. You made the trilogy. It was basically perfect. And no, Tom Bombadil should not have been in the damn movie. You made the Hobbit trilogy, which was, I mean, it was okay. Went on a little long. Could have just been done in 2 movies. There are other stories. The Silmarillion. Like, stop milking the damn cash cow. Maybe this is just a palate cleanser, considering Rings of Power is a thing that literally nobody likes. Hey. Point Throat says, what's next? A whole movie trilogy based on Fatty Bulger? What the fuck is Fatty Bulger? Okay, yes, he's a minor character. Yeah, we're gonna make a movie about Fatty Bulger. We're gonna make a movie about the scouring of the Shire. Gonna make a movie about Tom Bombadil and naked hobbits frolicking in the woods. Ponythroat says they should have left in the scouring of the Shire, where Saruman takes over and does the worst thing possible. Builds a factory and squats in Frodo's house. Yes, then the scouring happened, and the hobbits were victorious. They killed the ruffians and Saruman of the many colors, old Sharky. Hey, Fran LPK says Gollum will be non-binary. Yeah, probably. C-Punk Messiah asks, when are we getting bad taste Peter Jackson? Yeah, I miss that Peter Jackson. Brain dead Peter Jackson. Alpha Marigi says, make a movie about elf pasta. Again, I guess I'm a little rusty on my, Tolkien legendarium. I don't know what elf pasta is. I know about lembas bread. Hey, what else do we have? I got a couple more stories. Yeah, let's stick with Anglo fantasy writers and how their legacies are getting dicked over. Tolkien was getting in the shorts, and now J.M. Barrie's also getting in the shorts. Disneyland cuts Tinkerbell from meet and greets, labeling her as a problematic character. No explanation is given, but yeah, apparently this is a problem. Yeah, eat shit, J.M. Barrie, you and Tolkien, and fuck C.S. Lewis too, and Lord Dunsany and all those guys. Me. I, I don't know. Like it's yeah, I wonder why Disney's stock is absolutely plummeting in the stock market. Alf Enriquez says he made up elf pasta. Well, Rocco's Modern Life taught us that the elf wenches are so beautiful, you'll spend the rest of your life searching for that same beauty again. Ponythroat says, are they going to leave out the part where Gollum apparently eats babies? I'm surprised they did in the movie. I mean, they showed him murdering Deagle. Alf Enriquez says, I guess Tink is too lolicon adjacent for them. Yeah, I don't. They didn't really explain why. It's kind of silly if you ask me. But again, yeah, like Disney continues to go woke and their profits go down, and they don't get why. Seabug Messiah says the most problematic thing about Tinkerbell is that she's a C word. Yeah, she's kind of a bitch, but that's what makes her a memorable character. And finally, going to France, uh, a story that happened in 2007, but I only heard about recently. Basically, there was a man. He was a civil servant, some government bureaucrat. 90% of this man's brain was missing, and he didn't realize it until he was 44 years old. The CAT scan showed a shocking truth. He was having some pain. He was missing 90% of his brain. It was just cerebrospinal fluid. He had a lower than average IQ, but he was more or less normal. And apparently, he was born as a baby. He had, hydrocephalus, and there was a problem with, the curing for that. And yeah, he was just walking around with like a little, spoot of a brain. I mean, I think that says more than anything else about the state of the civil service, or the French work ethic. Fill in your own joke if you want. The brain is a mysterious organ. In America, of course, we have the famous case of Phineas Gage took a railroad spike to the head, and he was still alive, but it turned his personality completely different. He was once a nice man, and then became a complete asshole. It is a mysterious, mysterious organ. Hey, Alpha Marigi says ESG is why they make everything woke. We have to wait for BlackRock to go bankrupt in 15 years. I mean, they're basically buying up all the houses in America. I think that's going to take a while. But yeah, that does it for my prepared remarks. And want to say your last pieces? You can do it now. Alpha Rodriguez says 50 years then for BlackRock to go bankrupt. Yes, yes. I think BlackRock should be stopped now before they turn us all into a feudal society. I mean, the ultimate goal is to just turn us all into like bedraggled peasants as they, put on leather chaps and like rule the wasteland while driving monster trucks. Yep, say your last pieces. Okay. Narahari Kamath says that BlackRock is desperate. It might not take even 10 years for alarm bells to ring. I mean, if people continue to. Whoops, sorry, I almost knocked over my microphone. If people continue to vote with their wallets, things might be a little faster moving along. Just keep fighting the good fight, boys. C-Punk Messiah says if you get a chance, look up Sakigake Otoko Juku. It's absurd, hyper-masculine manga at its finest. I will have to look into it. Alpha Mariki says it annoys me that everybody thinks Mark Kern is crazy for thinking SJW types want him dead, then they put a literal bounty on him. Hello, Mr. Kearns. I want bad money now. Me sick. Yes, that is where my brain goes to. Rick says just made it to catch the end. Well, lucky you, sir. Hey, take a minute and say your last pieces. Okay, so with that being said, for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.